Hey, you. Yeah, you. Have you ever been slapped with a series of labels by yourself or others that control how you act, think, believe, and live your life? Well, join us in Label Breaker, finding your identity in a world of labels. You will learn what your core labels are, how you can get rid of your unwanted labels, how you can change your labels, and how to create labels that you choose for yourself that will help you live in joy and the success that God has intended for you to live. So come on, let's be label breakers. Hi, guys, and welcome to episode 3. Today we are going to read chapter 1 in Label Breaker, Finding Your Identity in a World of Labels. Chapter 1. Is your life a series of labels? 86,400 seconds, 1,440 minutes, or if you prefer, 24 hours. This is the amount of time that you have each day. You do not have more or less than me. I do not have more or less than you. Everyone is given the same amount each day. The problem is you are not guaranteed a certain amount. Will you have another tomorrow, or another hour, or even another minute? How about another second? Probably, but possibly not. Your life can change in the blink of an eye. Maybe you already have experienced a life-altering blink, or you have watched it happen to someone close to you. Sometimes those moments can be awe-inspiring, life-changing, positive, and unbelievably good. Or, as often the case, they can be something devastating, life-crushing, and unbelievably tragic. Some people say that life is made up of a series of blinks. Good, bad, boring. Speaking of boring, maybe you feel like you're stuck in the movie Groundhog Day. You know, the one with Bill Murray, where you wake up and relive the exact same day over and over and over again. You may try to change your day as he did by learning a new skill, changing your look, or even your location. For a short time, it seems to work. Good blink. You feel happy. You accomplish some goals. But then, one day you wake up and realize that you have lost all of your momentum, and you fall back into the same old cycle. Bad blink. Feelings of despair and regret become your closest friends. Great. So we have established that life is a series of life-altering blinks with glimpses of complete joy or complete despair, followed by a series of mundane drudgery. So what does that have to do with labels? Let's begin with a question. Are you actually living a life or just a series of labels? Do you wake up and view each day as a gift to be opened, explored, cherished? Or do you grudgingly wake up, cranky and stressed, with a whole list of labels that you need to fulfill that day? Many of us begin our day with the label of alarm snoozer. You know who you are. The one who sets 5 alarms for the start of your morning and hits snooze up until the very last one, giving yourself mere minutes to get dressed and run out the door. This habit, in turn, may give you the label of always late. Or perhaps you have the label of a morning person. You wake up with the first chirp of the birds, pop out of bed, smile at your reflection in the mirror, and can't wait to start your day. Either way, your day has just begun, and you already have a label attached to you. Come on a journey with me for a moment, back to your very beginning. Some of you may have to go further than others, but that's okay. We'll wait for you. Oh, there you are. Since you were able to handle that, let's go back even further. Not to just your beginning, but the beginning. And while we are journeying, I will share with you one of my labels. Christ follower. As such, I believe that the beginning happened when God, the intelligent, omnipotent Creator, spoke our world into existence. And when he did that, he also created us humans. He created us in his image. Genesis 1:26 through 27 says, "Then God said, 'Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them rule over the birds of the sky, and over the cattle, and over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth.'" Also in Genesis 5:1 through 2, it says, "In this, the book of the generations of Adam, in the day when God created man, he made them in the likeness of God. He created them male and female, and he blessed them and named them man in the day they were created." From these verses, we learn two of our core labels given to us by our God: our humanity and that of male and female. Even if you have a different belief concerning the beginning, can you agree that we humans are made differently than any other creatures on earth? We know God is a wonderful and imaginative creator. He has also created so many wonderful species. Many of them are very intelligent and compassionate, but none have the same capacity that we Homo sapiens do. Our world and the way we view things has taken a dramatic shift in the past couple of years. We live in a world of extreme labels right now, and one of those is that of political correctness. We have to be extremely careful in what we say and how we say it, and who we say it to. In some ways, this has made us more self and others aware, but at the same time, it has caused great division where its supposed intention was to bring us together. There are many heated and heartfelt debates over gender issues in our world today, and I'm not going to take a side as right or wrong, but just asking you to remember that it is our Creator who has given us our labels of human and male and female. The other two core labels given to us at birth by our Creator are those of our race, our ethnicity, and our age. These core labels are labels that no matter how much you wish to change them, they are your structural DNA and the core of who you are. You may disagree with these labels, and you may work diligently to change or fight against them, but they are given to you by your Creator in love, and trying to change them only brings more pain. We are going to talk about how you can change many other labels put on you, and how you need to change these labels to improve the quality of your life. But I am telling you in simple truth, with a heart of love and from observation, that when you try and change your core labels, it only brings pain and despair. It may bring even more pain than not removing your untrue, ugly, and hurtful labels that have been given to you by yourself or by others. Take a moment and look at your life with me. Think about who you are, male or female, your age, and your race. Now be honest with yourself and reflect on the heartache you have experienced when you try to fight against or change these core labels. In all honesty, has any amount of education, time, surgery, or money been able to truly change these foundational aspects of you? You know in your heart that to begin the process of healing, you must accept who you are, who your Creator made you to be. When you begin to wholeheartedly embrace these labels with thankfulness and self-understanding, you begin the process of healing and finding your true identity. You are not an accident, a force of nature, or natural selection. There is only one you. You were made on purpose for a purpose. Close to the time that I'm writing this, Caitlyn Jenner, formerly known as Bruce Jenner, is dominating our news, causing many to look at their own or others' genders in a whole new way. Along with this, we are having a bitter battle about Black Lives Matter, or Blue Lives Matter, or All Lives Matter, including rioting and protesting in many of our cities due to racism and police brutality. You would think our focused intent on the importance of race and gender would be bringing us closer together and uniting us. However, we now have more division, turmoil, hatred, racism, and confusion in our society. Schools are now afraid or consider it wrong to use any gender identifier for children in our society. You as citizens no longer have to choose between male or female on job applications, important documents, and in some states even on birth certificates. Our society is so caught up in being politically correct and holding on to the appearance that we accept everyone, that we no longer know how to respond to others in truth and real love. We are told that it is wrong to say that all lives matter, because that means we are degrading those who have suffered unfairly at the expense of some. However, when we stop thinking that all lives matter and matter equally, then that is where the problems begin. Every single life on this planet matters. You matter more than you can ever fully know. Each of us has been affected in some way by the labels that have been put on us. We all view ourselves and others by these labels from the moment of our birth. At birth, you were labeled a boy or girl, white, black, Asian, Indian, Hispanic. Maybe you were born with lots of dark hair, or bald, with blue eyes or brown. The second you take your first breath in this big, beautiful world, you are labeled. I was labeled at birth too. A white, bald, green-eyed little girl, born in a small backwoods town called Rawlins, Wyoming, daughter of a small-town Baptist preacher and his young wife. I know the power that labels can have. I spent the majority of my life being defined and controlled by my labels. It hurts. It hurts to the point of ultimate despair, where you feel you no longer have any options, no hope, no point or reason to go on living a life of labels, and you just want to give in and give up. I know your pain. There is no condemnation, criticism, or belittlement of you or your pain here. We are going to share and work through our stories together with introspection, observation, love, truth, and prayer. Hopefully you come to a point where you can alleviate, lessen, or remove the pain that your labels are causing you. Many of you may wholeheartedly disagree with me on the fact that they are unchangeable. Let's use Caitlyn Jenner as one of our examples. She is now finally able to be who she was meant to be all along. She is happy and at peace. She may truly feel happy in this moment, as we all do when we think we have made a positive change or gotten our way. But if this change was made outside of God's grace, will, or plan, our happiness is only surface deep and not sustainable. Let me introduce you to a man named Walt Heyer, author of 5 books on gender identity. You can find out more about him at sexchangeregret.com. He began cross-dressing at the age of 4 with the help of his grandmother. He did not identify himself as gay and was married. However, he went on to have a full sex change operation and live as a woman. He now helps others who struggle with knowing their sexual identity and identifies himself as a man once again. He also got a degree in psychology so he could help himself and others. As a counselor, Heyer believes that at the core of all identity issues is also a comorbid disorder, which is the presence of one or more additional disorders. He says that there is nobody, hear me out, nobody that changes from one gender to another. Biologically, it is categorically impossible and the greatest medical fraud in history to say that someone can change genders, because you can't do it. You can masquerade as a female, you can think like and feel like a female, but biologically you are still a male. If they test your DNA, it will still say you are a male. Suicide.org says that 90% of all suicides are because of untreated and undiagnosed mental disorders. The suicide rate among the transgender community is higher than any other group in history. According to the National LGBTQ Task Force, over 41% of those who identify as transgender have attempted suicide. 54% of multiracial transgenders have attempted suicide, compared to 1.6% of the general U.S. population. I have tears in my eyes as I type this. I know these organizations blame the statistic on unacceptance of transgenders. However, we have more acceptance for this lifestyle choice now than at any other time in our recent history. In an article on APA.org, Bonnie J. Morrison, PhD, has a paper titled Brief History of Lesbian and Gay Movements, in which she addresses the June 12, 2016 Pulse nightclub incident in Orlando, Florida. 49 people were killed and 50 others injured. This atrocity happened during Pride Week. Morris claims that this event started a massive turning point in the acceptance and public support for the LGBT community. An immediate and caring response by mayors, police, FBI agents, local and national politicians, the President of the United States, and countless Americans brought about an enormous shift toward the acceptance of the transgender and LGBT lifestyles. Going against or trying to change our core labels may at first seem to make us happier, more in tune with our true selves, and that we can finally be who we were always meant to be. Oh, how I wish this was the truth. But we have traded the truth for a lie. The process of finding your true identity begins with accepting how you were created and who your Creator made you to be. He has given us some clues in Psalms 139, 13 through 14. For you created my innermost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Think of these words like a love song about the creation of you. You were created by someone who knows your innermost being. You are not an accident, a clump of cells just thrown together. You were knit in love in your mother's womb. You were fearfully, and the original definition here means with great reverence, heartfelt interest, and respect, and wonderfully, which means unique, set apart, and marvelously made. Imagine for just a moment that you were created in this much love, care, heartfelt interest, uniqueness, reverence, respect, and marvelous uniqueness. What does it feel like to be a person who is absolutely cherished, wanted, and loved this much? Think. You were made on purpose, for a purpose. And as you take your journey back to the present, take this note from the beginning with you. You and your core labels are not a mistake. You and the core labels that make up you are both beautifully and thoughtfully made in love. Don't dwell on trying to change your core labels. You are going to look at the labels that you have allowed others to label you with, and you have labeled yourself with, the ones that cause you pain and despair. You will look at how you can begin to remove or change these unwanted and burdensome labels. You will also look at your labels that are good, meaningful, purposeful, and see how to preserve them. As you work on these labels, it will lead to healing and acceptance of your core labels also. Learning the true identity of your Creator is the first step in finding your true identity. See you next time, guys.